Good evening, everybody, and welcome to session 4 of La Terreur et la Vertu, our Vampire the Masquerade V5 Chronicle set amidst the most incendiary nights of the French Revolution. I am Beck. I will be your storyteller for tonight's session, and before we jump into it, I'll get our lovely group of kindred to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Adam. I'll be playing Remy Sinjin, your Sabat Malkavian.
I'm Jack. I will be playing Madame de Comtesse Le Visage, the Camarilla Toreador.
Hi, I am Syrinx, and I will be playing Mayel Cadieux at the Gangrel.
Lovely. Now, where we left our group at the end of the previous session, they had just emerged from a fiery, tense, dangerous exchange with Louis Antoine de Saint-Just, one of the lieutenants of Maximilien Robespierre, within the conciergerie, the prison in Paris, the main fortress where political enemies of the revolution are held as they await trial and, inevitably, the guillotine. Remy, along with the help of his two group members, was able to save Sebastian, a member of his pack, who was imprisoned under a false pretense of being an anti-revolutionary because of his involvement in conversation with some people who were speaking out against Robespierre on the streets. Not without a heaty exchange with Saint-Just and some strange promises made between him and the group in response. We find the group now as they emerge and as Sebastian makes his way back to the oubliette. Would he make his haven in the oubliette as well, or do the two other packmates spend most of their time in the above theater, Remy? Where do you think they would stay?
I think they would probably not do their day sleep in the oubliette.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine they would keep quarters above ground or in a
Yeah.
closed off area up there.
Yeah, makes sense. Perfect. In that case, he would make his way back to La Bonne Diable and seek the company of Eleanor upon his release. We find the rest of the group on the island in the middle of the Seine, in the middle of the city, between the towering image of the conciergerie on one side, and on the other, the Cathedral de Notre Dame, which, as the group discovered, has been transformed into a grotesque image of what it once was. Now a church of reason, where people on the streets of Paris find others that they have been spying on, that they have deemed enemies of the revolution, take them inside and give them a first-hand experience of the justice of Robespierre's New Republic. In any case, you find yourselves here in the courtyard between the two. Are there any words shared between you? Anywhere you would like to go? What is the plan for the rest of the evening among you?
I think the museum is definitely on our list of things, very high on our list of things to do, to try and see if we can break a Vaulderie at all by asking.
Below Villain?
Then,
Lord
yeah.
Villain.
Well, you'll have to tell that because I have no clue that you want to go to the museum yet. So if we are standing outside there, I think Maya will grow kind of uncomfortable still being here. So she'll say, right, then whatever we want to do next, maybe we don't stay here.
I think that's wise. Perhaps we should make our way museumward.
Indeed. See if Monsieur Billard Viren is there. If we can find a way to break apart these lieutenants.
He is known to be at the museum often.
It is a gut feeling to visit the museum. But if people care for the revolution, of which Viren should, there's a possibility. And if not him, someone of interest, I'm sure.
I would not be at all surprised if he sees us before we see him. So, be vigilant.
That's ominous.
Hmm.
Great.
You have better cause than most to understand.
Right, and maybe whilst we're going there, we can talk about what we are planning to do in one night before everything goes down.
Begin walking to the
Yeah, we'll
museum.
walk and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Things have accelerated rapidly.
Indeed.
You think?
Rather exhilarating.
It does not give people the time to plan ahead, to create advantages where once they might.
It also forces people who believed they had those advantages to make some quick choices.
Yes, perhaps disadvantageous choices.
At the very least, we shall learn something.
Mm.
I believe our friend, Mademoiselle Morel,
Hmm.
perhaps whoever sent her,
Yes.
will be willing to accelerate the timeline to which we meet.
Perhaps would be. I would be interested to see what they think. This is exactly what they wanted after all.
In a way, it is the devil's calling card to give people exactly what they want. They're not always
Exactly.
happy about it, though.
Yes, so I'm very interested to see if this powerful, influential figure who has not shown their face nor really offered us anything can actually follow through on these things.
We are in a situation, if Sebastian's experience says anything about it, where inaction will be as dangerous to us as action.
Yes, of course. That is the whole point of this mission we have been given.
Yes.
That if nothing is done, Robespierre stays in charge of the Church of Reason, which would not be so bad. He is a divine being.
I'm not entirely certain who's to blame for Sebastian's apprehension, but I
His
suspect we're
own
going
fault,
to.
really. For
I
being
suspect we're going
around.
to find out tonight whether or not our interested third party was to blame for that. Sebastian may have been in the wrong place, and that may have been a mistake, but I believe he was being manipulated.
Understandably so. Seems he probably could have done a better job.
True enough,
Sebastian is
since
not
he probably,
especially political.
Yes,
I was
he
going
ended
to
up in
say, it doesn't
prison.
seem like he has an anti-revolutionary body cell in his body, so.
No. No, his ambitions are not of that kind. But unfortunately, he has proven simple enough to entrap in that way, which means, well, think of us as fish pulling the hook, as it were. Perhaps we'll find a very surprised fisherman on the other end.
Perhaps they will get a larger meal than they expected.
Perhaps.
Right, all the metaphors aside, we're all gonna be putting connections on the line tomorrow night. Talking about that, do you think that you can convince your Spat Pack to join?
I think an open invitation to Elysium will be exactly the excuse that some people need to create some mayhem. And the thing about the kind of mayhem that can create is that there is collateral damage. Sometimes it's difficult to see who throws the knife, so to speak.
Speaking of putting contacts on the line, shall we be speaking with Mademoiselle Codet?
Well, we don't need to speak to her. I can speak to her. I guess it would be a good opportunity to be there tomorrow night.
Are
As good
there
an opportunity as any.
other anarchs are there in the city still?
Not that many. Not that many with a position like hers.
The more the merrier. A good representation of each would be good, no?
I guess.
Any one of these is certainly no match for Robespierre alone, and all the more difficult with his entire pack. There is a riddle that remains unsolved, I think. Something in Saint Just's demeanor during our conversation.
Ah, yes.
He responded to your jab, Lucretia, about the strength of their bond.
Indeed.
Now, I know whatever actually occurred to him probably had little to do with that, but the fact that it's an insecurity is interesting.
Very much so. Very much.
I suspect that Robespierre is up to something. He's... And I'm going to actually look up at this moment to see if there's anyone who seems too interested in us. I know it's only
Yeah.
two of us that are probably visible, right? But,
Yeah. Is
I'm
Mael obfuscated
always-
still? I can't remember if she was after.
Obfuscate gang.
Yeah.
I'm always keeping an eye out.
Mm.
Yeah,
Because
but I'm
she
happy to
was
look
when they
around
came
and-
out of the prison, so she still is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make a wits awareness, I think.
Okay.
As you do that, Mael, I'll get you to make a wits streetwise for me.
And we're gonna go streetwise.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference because I do wits etiquette.
Mael is seeing something completely different, so not in this case. Unless you're looking for something in particular.
I'm just seeing, as always, whether we're drawing too much unwarranted attention as well.
Okay.
Because like when you say Robespierre, when you say stuff like that, suggests
Yeah.
people look and listen. So she's just making sure that if anyone's even looking over, she's like, thank God for them. Love them.
Yeah. That's me saying his name out loud is what made me think to look.
Yeah.
Love them.
Love them.
You can make a wits etiquette roll to study people's sort of mannerisms and such based on their dress, based on who they're with, and all that sort of thing. You'll see something a bit different. 3. Remy, how many successes? 2. With 2, as far as you're concerned, it's getting a little later in the night now. It's probably approaching 1 p.m. There aren't as many people around, especially in this more sort of opulent area of the city as well, down just south of the Seine. It's not quite the market-esque sort of areas that Mael frequents, and it's not the sort of busy bourgeois areas that Lucretia sort of spends most of her time in. These places are less frequented at nighttime. There aren't many people around from what you see. Looking around, the few people that are frequenting this area don't pay you any mind whatsoever. Lucretia, with 3 successes on a wits etiquette roll, You notice that the sort of sporadic groups of people that are around all seem to be kind of huddled in groups, whispering amongst themselves in a way that if they were doing this in a place that was more sort of sans-culotte, working class people, it would come off as suspicious. But because they're doing so here, it's a little bit less, it's taken a little less poorly, but the way that they're behaving in hushed tones in small circles of conversation is very different to what you would expect from a sort of hyped up revolutionary citizenship.
Yeah. So us whispering to each other as we go is not too suspicious.
No, you're actually fitting in with these people quite well.
Perfect.
And how many successes on the wit streetwise roll?
3. What do I spot with my little eye?
Yeah. 3 successes is what I was looking for. There is a small market, a sort of uppity market, a lot different to the sort of fish markets that you would see around your area, Mael. They are selling what look to be prints, engravings, small artworks of some kind. There's a lot of them sort of scattered just on the side of a square as you walk past. It's not really anything to look at, but something catches your eye as you walk past this particular market stall. One of them, sort of second from the end, not unlike any of the others, you notice and you sort of recognize the face of this grotesque, skeletal looking woman who you would have seen once a few years ago when you broke into Camarilla Elysium. Or you were around the outside, but you would have got a glimpse of her, I'm sure. This is Julienne de Lyon, the ex-harpy of the Camarilla. She's still around as far as you're concerned. Lucretia would know more about this than you. But there is an artwork of her that has been reprinted sort of multiple different times. It seems to be the only image that this particular stall is selling. And she is in a bathtub with who very clearly appears to be Jean-Paul Marat, and they are engaged in an intimate act together. This is a pornographic piece, but they are both displayed with the full sort of capacity of their Nosferatu Bane, engaged in an intimate act in a bathtub. And this image is reprinted again and again, as I said, and is being sold.
Is it the kind of thing, so it's only being sold there? It's not anywhere on the walls or anything like that?
All you can see is that it's there's sort of postcards and such at this stall, and there is a woman there behind the stall selling them. But you can't see them posted on any walls as flyers or anything like that.
All right. I will my little eye will catch that, and I will whisper to the both of them, say, wait just around the corner for me, I'll be back. I will go into, like, round the corner where I can become visible again to drop my obfuscate. And I am planning to walk to the lady who was selling the prints.
Certainly. Remy and Lucretia, you keep walking for a moment. Mael, you just dip around a corner into a back alley, drop obfuscate, and approach. This lone woman, this elderly woman, looks about 60 years old, is wearing sort of bourgeois clothing. She looks to be well off enough. And she sort of bows to you as you approach and smiles a bit sheepishly at you.
That seems like quite the grotesque picture, I do say. Do you know, are you the one behind it, or merely selling it?
I'm not the artist. No, definitely not. They're actually extremely popular with some of the people in the Hotel de Ville and those upper classy sort of places. They've started commissioning them like crazy, so I thought, why not hop on a trend while it's going on? It's a little bit grotesque, like you say, and maybe I'll be in trouble for depicting Marat like this, but nobody's told me otherwise so far, and it's pretty lucrative.
Is it I do believe I've seen work from perhaps this artist before. Have they, by your knowledge, I think I saw a poster of a male, another, I think it was Jean-Baptiste?
Oh, Monsieur Hellier, yes, the old court figure from before the revolution. The artist doesn't tell me his name. He likes to remain completely anonymous, under the radar,
Of
all of
course.
that sort of thing. Artist types are like this, but yes, he does one of Hellier as well. It was extremely popular a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I saw it in one of the alleyways and it
Yeah,
caught my eye
same
just
style.
as this one did. Yeah, indeed. Do you know if he has made any other pieces besides these two?
Not that I know of. Those are the only two commercialized ones. I'm sure if you found out who he was, where he lived, he'd have a whole plethora of things in his keep, but I wouldn't know. He only releases things once every few years. It was that one back then, now it's
Hmm.
this one. Super popular every time he comes out with something new, as you can imagine. Sort of very
I can
eye-catching.
see why.
Mm,
Indeed. Thank you for the information. It was a lovely conversation.
of
And I
course.
will, and Mael would take like a coin because Mael does have money, even though she
Yes.
lives in a basement. um, she will take a coin and toss it to the lady and say, "I will take one of these home with me, though."
Of course, of course. Thank you very much. Hopefully it's interesting to you, and maybe it'll
It's
become more,
definitely eye.
valuable in the future. Who knows?
It's definitely eye-catching and worth a conversation. So I'll take it for
A
that.
conversation starter it sure is. I'm glad you like it.
Until next time, and she'll take one of the prints
Mm-hmm.
and leave.
Yeah, certainly. She sort of gives you a parchmenty postcard with it sort of printed on the backside for you. And
Lovely.
and you catch up with Remy and Lucretia again.
What was Remy gonna say before the check around?
Oh yeah, I was saying that now I do believe that our singular friend is up to something, and I don't know. I don't know if the sacred rites of my sect are truly compatible with his aims in the end.
Would agree as such. The fact that an act is being done against your sect in the first place symbol enough of that. I also do not believe that he is part of the Ivory Tower, simply because I would know who was missing and what they were doing.
Yes. It's just the aims
Mm,
of our supreme being are so distinctly individual.
yes.
I wonder if he has not already accomplished some version of them to liberate himself. But
Mm,
whatever is meant to be with this group act, uh, I'm very curious.
as am I. It is a very ballsy move to gather each sect all together to take down something that everybody has stood with.
Not everyone.
No, of course not everyone. There's a great amount of disagreement. I mean, this individual wants to take it down.
Yes, but
What makes them so special that they can ask for help when the rest of us want it gone too?
we shall have to decide to what extent we are to become agents or tools.
Indeed, as long as by the end of it I can have some semblance of a life, is all that matters.
Well, I'm rather fond of semblances myself.
Mhm. It would be lovely to go to the theater without threat of death every now and then. I've missed your shows so much.
Ah, you are too kind.
Yes.
They haven't been quite so full of death as they used to be. Rather in poor taste these days.
Yes, I
Keep it light,
understand as much. Yes, and that is what I want. I want to see performances of light as much as the people inside the Palais Royal are interesting storytellers and performers as much. They are not theater folk.
I will say there has been some demand for ultra-violence, kind of extreme, grotesque, wild displays. Beautiful
Yes,
in its way, but also quite silly still.
and takes quite the toll when you have to use live actors for that, I imagine.
Oh, yes. But people enjoy release as well as a distraction.
We were in the Cathedral de Notre Dame.
Well,
the
that was a
entire
spectacle
thing.
of its own kind, wasn't it?
Yes, that is the theater of ultra-violence.
It's the stage, anyway.
And we are merely actors, so let us play our part, shall we? She squares her shoulders a bit, pulls her fan up to her face.
Speaking of patrons of the arts, Mael, I didn't know you were a collector.
We all have to have our hobbies, do we not? No, she won't hide it. She'll pull it out
My
and
goodness.
kind of frame it and say, "I think we have an artist on our hands that likes to depict Camarilla people in
Julienne, no. Oh,
their true nature." First Jean-Baptiste Sellier, apparently from a few years ago, and this is his most recent piece.
where did you get that from? Who
A
did that?
lady selling it.
Where? Let's try to find this woman that's selling it. If we're too far down the street, that's fine.
Yeah, you'd still be in eye shot. It's sort of in a square. She's just at a market stall selling a bunch of these.
Is she the
Artist is
artist?
unknown,
Ah,
but she is selling some of the things, and apparently he is quite known for these kinds of pieces.
Person has a keen eye. The resemblance is uncanny.
Try to, amongst artists, is it possible to try and figure out who this is amongst Paris? Were they someone before the revolution?
Very difficult. You probably won't be able to tell exactly who it is, but you can make an intelligence academics roll to discern which era the style reflects, if you so choose.
That's a fun clue.
I'm going to browse, because this is important. Not my sister gal, Julienne.
Artistic forensics.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with a crit.
Wow. Beautiful.
I look at it, I'm like, Julienne!
Yeah. This style is probably extraordinarily familiar to Remy, in particular. A very distinctive sort of Baroque style from the late 17th century. Kind of almost sort of hyper-realist in its attention to the human form, which is especially kind of monstrous when they've captured the Nosferatu Bane so acutely and such, but still made these figures almost look Grecian or Roman or sort of pagan godlike in their form at the same time. They sort of have that mixture between the divine man, but also this monstrous kind of almost Miltonic demonic sort of depiction in a way.
Dark pre-Raphaelite.
Yes,
kind of
indeed. Yeah.
Nice.
And there are no artists that really did this kind of stuff.
Not really in France. It sort of lends itself to your thought that it might be the artist may have either learnt to do this elsewhere in Italy, probably most likely. Perhaps even in England sometimes they sort of did styles like this as well. But in France, this type of artwork didn't really take hold as much. You sort of gather that.
Actually, just a random guess, because I know that the Camarilla people are at each other's throats. Do I think that this is them trying to, like, the Jean-Baptiste poster is a Camarilla people trying to get at each other, and this is like a Jean-Baptiste response.
Difficult to say. I won't make you roll for it. It could
That's
well
just my
be based on what
Yeah.
you know about them, but it could also be somebody who doesn't like any of the Camarilla and wants to sort of chew them out from outside in, sort of thing. So it could be either or. Nobody really likes the Camarilla, including the Camarilla, because they don't like each other. Yeah.
She likes Julien. So she's going to see the woman and be like, I'll be back. And she walks over there. She's going to, let me double check exactly. So entrancement gives me like a plus to just charisma.
Yep, charisma-based rolls. You have to succeed in a contest for it to activate. You have to have eye contact. And it makes them extremely well disposed to you. They're not going to want to cause you active harm, but it's not mind control. So if you try to get them to hurt themselves, they're not going to do it.
Yeah. She's going to walk over. Her fans are in her pockets. She doesn't have her fans out when she's walking the street because they're very extravagant and beautiful. She's just going to walk over, grab one, look at it, and be like, "Oh, this art is very sensual." And then she'll deliberately do a little act of being like, "This is meant to be Marat." Oh,
yes.
They don't, and will be like, "This is anti-revolutionary art. How dare you defile the figure that is Marat and this woman, this monstrosity." And I'm just going to try and be like, "Destroy these things. Do you want to get in trouble? Do you want to meet the guillotine? How dare, just destroy this. Find the artist. Send them to the guillotine. This is anti-revolutionary."
Right. It's difficult with entrancement, is you have to be well disposed towards the person. Okay, you're just using daunt. Cool.
I was this is not going to be a "can you please?"
Yeah.
This is
demanding.
Daunt. She's trying to be. This is anti-revolutionary.
Yeah, certainly. Make a manipulation intimidation roll. Add your presence because you're using daunt.
Yeah, I get +3 because of daunt.
And
so
she'll try to resist, but this poor old lady is just trying to make money, so I don't know if she'll be very
She's doing
resistant.
anti-revolutionary stuff.
Honestly, my storyteller rolling is really coming through now.
Okay, that's gonna be 7 successes.
Oh, yeah. You beat her by a lot. She sort of takes a step back, her eyes wide, and just I'm just sorry. I promise I didn't make them. I just
destroy these. Find the artist who did it and get them to the guillotine immediately. This is anti-revolutionary art.
Nobody knows who.
Find them. Destroy this. Distance yourself from this.
Fine. I'm sorry. I just. How will I make money now, though?
There are many ways. Find work. Figure it out. We all are.
I'm sorry.
This would get you to the guillotine. Destroy them now.
Very well. You won't tell anyone, will you? If I just if I get rid of them now, you won't tell anyone.
No, not at all.
Okay.
We are all citizens here. I am simply trying to help you. This is ridiculous. This would have gotten you killed. We have to stick together.
Right. Yeah, you're right. She starts bundling them up.
Of course I am. And as soon as she starts grabbing it, she's like, "Ugh," and will walk away.
Yeah, certainly. She, you sort of see her stuffing them up, putting them sort of in bags and taking them off somewhere or other. She's clearly shook by this woman who's just come up, this radiantly beautiful woman who's come up and sort of accused her of being an anti-revolutionary. It's clear she's avoided such things up until this point and thought she would keep doing so.
She slipped up. We'll come back over and be like, "All right, we can keep going now." You mean
That truly wasn't necessary, you know.
I simply saved the woman from the guillotine.
Yes, and you also took away one point of getting to possibly the source of this art.
She did not know who the artist was. You have a piece of art.
But she could have shown us to people who may have been able to show us to people. Never mind that. It's no use now.
No.
Mm.
It's a difficult thing when a person's art is enough to get them killed.
Continue
You
towards them.
care very much for this, Julianne.
Mademoiselle Julienne, yes, she is a beauty, radiant soul, an excellent harpy while it mattered.
Is she unable to withstand her own visage?
No, she is quite beautiful, and she understands her beauty as well.
You seem very wounded by this picture.
It was done in, I believe, poor taste to have it sold on the street in such a way. If it was done in reverence in an art house on the wall in beauty, perhaps, but bits of card on the side of the street to be laughed at, most likely.
Too low as far as art goes? Is that what it is?
It is the intent of the art. Much like the Jean-Baptiste piece. Not to heighten or enjoy.
Perhaps you wouldn't find the shows at the Bon Diable to your taste after all.
No, I understand those shows. Of course, there are particular tales and such to be told. I simply don't like it when people I like are made fun of.
Right, so it's all good and well until it's someone you know, and then it's too much.
Do you have a point to make, Miel?
No, I think the point made itself, Lucretia. Thank you.
I'm quite good at that.
As long as you believe it, then that's one, right?
Of course, of course. Yes,
So
I'm
we
so
keep
glad.
moving.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
We aren't far.
With that, you indeed arrive at Les Invalides, the military museum in Paris, one which captured the eye of Lucretia when thinking about the military past and military role in the revolution of Monsieur Billaud Varennes, of whom you're looking, in order to establish some Voldery-based rifts in the current revolutionary climate. The building itself is a sort of grand, almost Roman-esque kind of white building that sort of towers above much of the Parisian skyline in this particular era. Lucretia, I say you probably would have been in here before, based on your upbringing and such. Mael, perhaps you even have a long time ago. It is within sort of very extremely opulent, sort of documenting the military history of the French Republic back through Louis XIV's reign, through the Middle Ages and the 100 Years' War, all the way back to when the Frankian tribes took over the Gauls, way back when France was first established, centuries and centuries ago. The military history of this country sort of documented through this building. You arrive here.
And you said that this place had been somewhat overtaken as well. Like,
yes,
there have been revolutionaries have come in and been like, stuff in.
So all of the displays and exhibitions now have sort of shifted tone a lot to regard the revolutionary wars of France and Paris in particular as being significantly kind of forefront in the mind of the sort of militaristic history and culture and such. So a lot of displays on the war with Austria, the war with Prussia, and especially even the wars with the anti-revolutionary cities and factions and villages and movements throughout France, and how they have been suppressed by the new National Guard and such. That has a huge focus. And you know, Lucretia, that Billaud Varennes was hugely influential and present in
Yes.
these anti-revolutionary the quelling of the anti-revolutionary movements throughout France.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there many people here?
No one that you can see.
Interesting. Okay.
I'd like to activate Sense the Unseen.
Certainly.
Just see if we got any observers.
Mm-hmm.
Slippery variety.
Yeah.
It'd be quite dangerous for me to walk around in the museum or anywhere really. So I'm not sure where we can find Jacques Nicolas Billau de Turenne.
Well, I'm definitely planning to go inside, so
I will keep an ear out.
quite interested to see what's being portrayed inside.
Yes.
Haven't actually had a time to get a proper look at it.
The tone has shifted, but you will see.
It's 4 successes on Sense the Unseen.
On Sense the Unseen. Perfect. For now you see nothing, but I will keep that 4 successes in mind for when we head through the scene.
Sure.
How would you like to go about getting inside? It is night, so the front door is locked.
Ooh.
Is there a side or back door somewhere? Because locks are not a problem. I would just not like to do that, like at the front
Right
door.
at the front. Mhm.
In the street.
Yeah. Plenty of back doors leading every which way. There is even a sort of door that leads down straight to the basement. It sort of goes underneath the building. But there is a back door. There is a sort of a wing door on the kind of eastern side of the building as well that leads to the ground floor.
Yeah, I am not planning to go to the basement yet. Mael actually wants to go inside. So one of the wing doors, she'll stop there, turn to the other two, and like say, "Well, so you were planning to stay outside and keep an ear out? You plan to join me to go inside, or to Remy?"
Well, it seems we are quite alone at the moment. In the flesh and otherwise. So I shall stay with you.
Well, if we are all going inside, I'll activate Daunt and come over just to make sure that if any eyes are on me, they struggle.
Certainly.
She keeps deliberately moving into your light.
Don't get in my eyesight. I can see it.
And whenever I stand behind you, those like anime symbols of like dread come forward.
Oh my god. Enough of this. Does Mael pick the lock? How does she get through this door?
She doesn't pick a lock.
The best lockpick in the world, blood sorcery.
Best lockpick in the world, baby. Yeah, she could use claws and all of that stuff, but I don't think she would do that. I think, as she has done many times in the past, she will take her thumb, prick it on a fang, like slice it open a bit, and then just push the thumb to the lock to get it to open, and I will make a rouse check for that.
Yes, please do.
Success.
Lovely. You don't get hungrier.
Yeah, won't last for long.
We all see about that. But yes, the blood that you sort of prick your finger with sort of seeps into the lock, into the metal, and sort of hisses only slightly. It's barely audible, and this sort of steamy substance, almost as like acid is burning, sort of wafts out of the keyhole. And you can hear, after a few seconds only, the click of the lock failing. This silent picking of the lock through blood sorcery.
She'll take the lock, just lay it down on the ground next to the door, and then open the door and hold it open for Remy.
My thanks.
After you.
Of course. I'm going to walk through. And incidentally, do we have you to thank for that interesting display from Saint-Just?
You'll have to determine what interesting display it is. Will Lucretia also join us? No?
The question is, do you step in front of Lucretia to go in? If you hold the door open, she will go in. Yes.
She's holding the door open, basically. Remy will enter. She's talking. She's holding it open still.
Yeah.
She's
Lucretia
not
will go
walking in immediately.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Then she'll say, allow me a moment, and go behind, still outside, and she will activate Mask of 1,000 Faces.
Right. Mm-hmm. Another rouse check, please.
Can't see me. Can't see me.
You come back in, and I'm like, sorry, sir.
Who the hell are you?
Where's Noelle? Where's she?
Why did you do that?
I just started attacking you. You killed her. How dare you?
I have another success.
Yeah.
Hey.
The same
Right.
plain sort of you know.
It's not the same. I think I mean, as long as it's a plain thing,
Yeah,
I can kind of guide it towards something,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So it's not the same.
Mhm.
It's like it's just another plain woman, but it looks distinctly enough from the other one.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do the same one.
The same
It's
theater
mask of
critic is
1,000
now.
faces, not the mask of one extra face.
You're not
Does it
wrong.
give you like a janitor cart as well?
Yeah, you have a name badge. Hi, my name
museum
is
lanyard.
not Mael.
Yes.
So yes, it's just like if a blonde, kind of non-distinct woman.
Yeah.
And as Mael activates her abilities, she'll go back in to the door and say, just for precautionary matters.
A voice I'd know anywhere.
Oh, I activate fleetness. I
Yeah.
see someone now go, oh, yeah.
Make a rouse check with fleetness.
I
Yeah.
succeed. It's an instant. The beast is like, I ain't scared.
Lucretia surely is paranoid about being out of the Palais Royale for so long.
She's more scared of this museum than she is of the person.
Yes.
Well, as she enters, she'll close the door behind her again, and say to Remy, again, you'll have to specify what outburst of Saint-Just, because at a certain point he seemed to have quite a lot of them.
Yes, I mean the one that he wanted to attribute to me.
Oh,
I mean, I was flattered, but certainly nothing of my doing.
I couldn't really help at the moment. I just thought that if he felt something stirring at the moment that blood bonds were talked about, perhaps he would question things if you pushed the conversation hard enough.
I think that was an inspired choice. Surprising. But
Indeed.
well-timed.
I'm assuming it is really dark in here.
Very. All the lights are off. Yeah, you probably couldn't see your hand in front of your face if you
And
if you
that
waved
is
it in
why I
front.
have a nifty trick for that.
Oh.
Because Mael, in fact, does want to kind of look around the museum.
Yeah.
So she will activate Eyes of the Beast.
Certainly.
That her eyes will glow.
Ooh.
And so she'll lead the way, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will heightened senses on my eyes improve what I can see?
Not heightened senses. Sense the unseen. You can sort of see a little bit through the dark. Heightened senses, if there's nothing to heighten, it's difficult. You can sort of...
I am going to heighten my hearing
Yeah.
and my skin.
Your touch.
I want to... Yeah, my touch, true. My skin. And what I want to do is I am going to closely follow the footsteps of Mael.
Great.
Move just behind her and using touch anytime the air seems to move as if I am about to bump into her. I'll stop.
Yeah, surely. That's fine.
And anything that I just use echolocation.
Yeah.
And Robbie will just bump into things.
Yeah, doing my best not to bump into Niall, but also want to be looking out for like wards,
Yeah.
that kind of spicy business.
Certainly.
Any such things are around.
Yeah.
And hand on my fan in my pocket.
Lovely. Cool. You sort of, when you enter this side door, it sort of is a wide corridor that leads out into this big open sort of space, which dictates the main exhibit in this particular museum. Mael, I will get a wits investigation from you. And Lucretia, I'm going to get a wits awareness from you. Remember to add your auspex because you got heightened senses on, as it is hearing
Does
based.
my power bonus apply to that?
Yeah, sure does.
It does. Lovely. Wits awareness with the old auspex. Toreador token.
Yes. 4 successes, great.
3 successes.
Okay, cool. Lucretia, I'll do you first. With 3 successes, you hear the murmurings of voices from underneath you, coming from below. You can't quite discern what they're saying with 3 successes.
Yeah.
You can just hear that they are there.
Okay.
Mael, with 4 successes, as you sort of come into the exhibition space, you see all of these things that I've described, things mostly about the Revolutionary Wars with Austria, with Prussia, and within anti-revolutionary groups in France. With 4 successes, your attention is eventually drawn towards a particularly significant exhibit in the middle of the exhibition space, which is talking about the war in the Vendée region of France, where there has been significant anti-revolutionary movement and some sort of crazy, horrible war crimes committed against some of these anti-revolutionary groups to suppress them and quell their activities and such. And there is a photograph of somebody who is labeled as being Jacques-Nicolas Billaud Varenne, standing there in a National Guard outfit with a bayonet sort of propped up against his body. And there is a little sort of placard temporary note underneath the photo saying archives are in the basement. And look, and it's been sort of handwritten clearly for night watchman or museum staff or something like that.
I think she'll take note of that, but she won't immediately say anything to the other 2. She is leisurely walking through the exhibition. And taking it all in, because in her own way, this is very interesting and inspiring for her. Luckily, the other 2 can't see her reactions to anything here. But there's definitely a sort of longing in her gaze as she kind of walks around the exhibition, taking note of the label for Varenne, and they'll definitely go there in a bit, but yeah.
Lucretia will whisper far too quietly for anybody without heightened senses to hear, and then will adjust when she realizes that she's like, that's too quiet. There are people below the museum. Chanting
chanting?
Not chanting, just speaking, murmuring. We can hear.
Yes.
Blood sorcery?
Well, perhaps associates of our intended audience.
Hmm.
I'm sure it has something to do with him. What do you think about all of this? I mean, obviously, you can't really see it all that much,
What are you
but
looking at? Which exhibit?
let's talk about the exhibits as a whole, not just the revolutionary fighting, but the fighting before that.
Is the history of Paris, France, playing this place, make it their own, to fight.
Yes, that's a factual opinion
Yes.
of what is here, but what does it make you feel?
You want me to say?
No, I asked you the question about your feelings and I do not want you to answer. Of course, I'm asking both of you.
I think it is a litany of inevitable distractions created by men with a little power.
You mean the museum or you mean the fighting itself?
Yes.
You can use more words than one, Remy.
I believe that the same thing is true for both. Although the museum is rather nicer. Even in the dark.
So you think such wars, such fights are all just unimportant in the grand scheme of things?
It's always fun to have my own words turned back on me, yes? Yes, the much, much grander scheme. I think...
The dream and all of that.
Indeed. Their passion is laudable and at times amazing. And I think the fierceness of their love and their ardor and their commitment, all these things I admire, but yeah, ultimately they are tools in the hands of those that wield them.
That's a fitting thing to say for someone who has always been able to taste a bit of freedom for themselves, so hasn't had to fight for it that much. Lucretia, please.
Who did the Franks fight?
The
What?
tribe was called the Gauls.
Gauls?
Old school.
Yeah.
Very old school.
Yes. It is a display of the things that have happened, and it shows. It is easier to see people's beliefs, what they did to keep it, and how they lost it. And it is. I enjoy seeing other people's beliefs, who can hold them. It is, in a word, entertaining. Educational. You can learn from it.
What do you feel, Mael, when you look at these exhibits?
Entertaining and educational, quite different things, are they not?
Yes. Correct.
Well, the Romans didn't think so.
Yeah. Many tales have a meaning behind them, don't they?
The Horatian ideal, to delight and instruct.
Why suddenly so interested?
I don't think the stories are about fighting. They're meant for it to be entertaining.
No, of course not. But they are entertaining nonetheless.
Perhaps to some.
Yes, to me.
Perhaps more educational to some others, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel, Maya?
Yes, you seem to have thoughts.
I seem to have thoughts. What a compliment, indeed.
Is now the time to be witty?
I don't think I ever stopped.
No.
Yeah, some of us can't help it.
It's interesting, educational, as you may say, to see stories about people fighting for their freedom in the past and still now. One can learn from it and take certain guidelines for the fight that they themselves might one day lead. Do not make the mistakes that past people made. Shall we go downstairs?
What
I
have
think
you
there
learned
are
from this
archives.
then? How are you going to bring all of this into your own fight?
I guess it's more entertaining for you to see rather than hear me speak about it.
Only I could see you more.
That sounds like a you problem at this point, not a me. I can see perfectly. Everything's clear. Please, I'll lead the way down.
Fantastic.
You find the doorway back to the basement archives after a bit of exploration around, a little bit of scrounging. And as you do, you come to this huge, expansive room underneath the museum that has bookshelves upon bookshelves upon bookshelves of books, of documents, of folders, of every which way that you can think of to write things down, to document. Photographs, not photographs because we're in 1794.
Instagram reels,
TikToks,
Snapchat
everything.
stories.
There's a microfiche corner over
Yeah.
here.
Geocache.
What I was thinking of was engravings and paintings and such of that nature. Things like this. Remy, with 4 successes, you see this a little before the other 2 do. There is silence. Lucretia, the voices stop as soon as you come down into this room. Remy, at the far end of this room, at the end of the sort of alphabetical order that all of these things are placed in, there is a crash against something. You hear a piece of wood hit the floor, and you see fire erupt from the far end of the room. It's too far away to warrant a terror frenzy from you yet, but it is big and it is crackling. And from where they came are
bright, so we can see.
Extraordinarily bright. It pierces through the darkness for all 3 of you. Not Mael, though. She can see perfectly well. You see 2 men, one of them carrying a bayonet, one of them not carrying anything, sort of erupt from the flames, it looks like, start hurtling towards you. Remy, you see another one carrying a sword.
Okay. This one is obfuscated, the one carrying the sword?
Indeed.
Okay. Is he familiar?
No, you've never seen any of these men before.
Okay. So I don't recognize the obfuscated one as Jacques Nicolas.
No, you do not.
Okay.
Nor the person with the bayonet. We can see the person with the bayonet.
You can see the person with the bayonet. You can see the person who's just running at you without anything.
So they're coming at us to do violence.
Yeah.
Okay.
To do violence, indeed.
To do violence, yes.
Okay. I'm going to say to the other two, there was a third unseen with a sword. And then I'm gonna just shout at the one with the bayonet. I'm gonna say, kill that one. Use compel.
Kill that one over there.
Yeah. Pointing to the other, presumably human, who's coming for us.
Yeah, lovely. Just the one who doesn't carry anything on him, I'm assuming, based on the fact that you can assume that they actually see each other.
Yep.
Cool. Roll for me. No rouse check for compel. Charisma plus your dominate. I will give Lucretia the chance to act next since you have fleetness activated.
Oh God, my first fight with the Dex character. Oh.
Okay, that's 5 successes.
Great.
Compel.
You beat him by 1, so it works. Just
That's all I need.
And as you sort of step back, he stands there, lifts up this huge rifle that's almost as tall as him, and needs to actually sort of take a tentative step back, does so towards the flame without even considering the fact that it's there at all whatsoever, strangely, and shoots and gets this guy square in the head, killing him instantly. And are any of you on hunger 4 or more currently? Oh, lucky for you. So yeah, that happens. Lucretia, what would you like to do in this situation?
It seems like we're just killing people, but there's an obfuscated person that I can't see. How close is the dude that just shot to the fire? Can I get to...
With fleetness and celerity 5, you can get anywhere you want, sweetie.
The question is, if I get close to him, will I terror frenzy?
They are very close to the fire. You'll have to make a Rotrek test as you get closer. But it won't, if you pass it, it won't dissuade you from doing what you want to.
I'm going to, because he's close to the fire, right? Blink and just kick him into the fire.
Okay. I'll get a rouse for blink.
Oof, a little bit hungrier. And then a Rostrek, I imagine.
And then all of your unspent willpower, please. It is a big fire, and you are very close to it now.
Yes.
The difficulty is not going to be low.
With fleetness, actually, what I might do is just fleetness over, kick, and then blink back.
Certainly, absolutely. You'll be able to do it with ease because your celerity is so high. So yeah, you can run over to him.
How many successes do I need on the Rostrek?
You're going to need 4.
You can't re-roll those, can you?
You can, but you have to roll 1 less.
Oh, true. And I can't rouse, right?
You cannot rouse for a willpower check.
I can re-roll but remove 1. Okay. Move that. Come on, dice. 4. Just.
Nice. With 4 successes, you feel the beast sort of go, no. You can feel it panicking within you, and it almost wins over. It sort of lurches up into your sort of mind space and is there with you.
As I'm there at the fire, just like, no, do the kick, and then use that as a springboard to blink back.
Oh yeah. If you imagine your mind as a coach, your beast sort of propels itself up and tries to take the reins. You sort of square shoulder wrestle each other essentially and end up sort of guiding yourself together in this particular moment as you're both terrified but determined. Your determination wins over in this moment. So you wish to kick this man.
It's like this, the beast is very freaking out at the fire, but she comes forward, does this like pirouette turn,
Great.
like up and out behind her
Mm-hmm.
to do the kick, and then that has her facing back.
Yeah, cool. Dexterity performance for me.
Yay! Plus my fucking. Oh wow! So this is what combat is like.
I'm rolling so badly.
30 performance, and then fleetness gives me
+5.
I love that you
plus
get
5
to,
dice.
plus 5 dice.
Mhm.
I love that you get to use performance to kick someone to death.
Yes.
Yep, performance dance. This is so many dice. This feels illegal.
Now you know what it's like for me.
Yeah, my god. Right. Nine with the crit.
Oh, wow.
Jesus fucking Christ! What the hell?
Amazing. Describe how it looks when you kick him back into the flames here.
So it is, yeah, she's kind of on the stairs, that shot goes off and they die, and it's like, because Mael's in front of her, this shift around her, almost this like dancing spin, she lands on one leg, and then just shoots her leg out hard into him, and then uses that kick as a springboard to then flip up and land exactly where she was before.
Lovely. He stumbles back, ill-prepared for the force that comes with the just raw speed that you hit him with, essentially. He lets out a sort of like choked kind of gasp as you kick him. He falls back into the flames, starts screaming horrifically as they hit him. And you sort of lose sight of his body after a while. Lucretia, as you step back to where you were before, close to where Mael is, you notice that the flames are a lot closer than what they were. Remy is standing a little bit back still.
Yeah.
Mael, what would you like to do in this situation?
Oh boy, there is a lot going on in her head right now. First of all, the question, but not really surprised, honestly, that the two of them would straight away go to killing them. So with that in mind, seeing that literally two of them are already dead, I think she will try to, with a little growl, she'll try to sniff and see if she can find the other person like that, because she cannot see unseen people. She will do that, but she will also yell because there's a fire and they cannot put it out in any way right now. She'll what was the number of the archives where the Varen things were?
You can tell very clearly from the layout of this room that they are in alphabetical order. So you just need to go to the B section, below Varen, and his archive will be there.
All right.
We're down at the end.
She will not be able to do that herself at this moment, because she wants to try and get this person. So she will yell, "One of you get to Varen's archives and at least get that out before the fire takes it." And I'll go find this person.
I'll just be staring at the invisible person, saying, "My dear, and swiftly now." Remy's not moving.
Are you actually staring at one point?
Yeah.
Well, I do not know that he is staring at a person. But I would like to find this person so that I can grapple them.
Great. I'm going to get you to roll wit survival for me in that case.
The opportunity presents itself, I will fleetness myself to the B section.
Yeah, you can do that now. That's fine.
Yeah, and then heightened senses with eyes to help scan through things. We'll just be like,
yeah, you spot his name and just grab the entire folder and yeah.
Yep.
I will rouse the blood for this as well.
Yes, yeah.
Actually, fun little flavor as she grabs like the folder. she pulls out a bunch of like really nice silks that she's just stuffed into these things to make them look full, and then she just goes, puts them into the other pocket, and then puts my show fabrics.
And they're just really expensive, like muslin and silks
Ultra
and
like
stuff.
lace that people would pay like thousands of dollars for. She's like jams it into another pocket.
You know, stuffing usually means something different in this context.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very fitting for the situation. My rousing did succeed,
Yep,
and I
nice.
rolled, and I got 8 successes with a messy critical.
Wow.
Ooh, a messy
Very
look.
fitting.
Interesting. I'm going to get you to roll a d10 for me. With your rouse
Yes.
successful, your hunger won't increase because you're working with
You
the beast
succeed
very
on your rouse
closely.
check. You gain a hunger.
I hate it when people do that. You're like, got a messy critical, your
Bullshit,
hunger
like-
increases. Like,
What do you want? Do you want a specific number?
I want the number, yes.
5.
A 5? Cool.
Mhm.
Also rather fitting, I think. You are going to suffer a paranoia compulsion in this particular scene. The combination of the fire that is edging closer and closer to you and not the terror, just the I don't know how Mael feels about seeing Lucretia and Remy just murder 2 people as though it's the most natural thing in the world. You feel morally sort of out of place in this situation for a moment, and the beast, though it's working with you, is coaxing you to get out of this situation. We need to leave. This is horrible. This is not what we stand for. We need to go. We need to get out of here. But with 8 successes, you sort of use your hearing, you use your sense of smell, and you manage to turn almost as if you're sort of outside of yourself. And you just know that he is there, probably only 2 or 3 meters in front of you. You can hear him moving, and he is right there. You can feel exactly where he is now. I will permit you to do something else if you want to, because that's sort of something that happens in a split second. So if you'd like to act or something as well, you have the chance to here.
I think most fitting, that even more so now, she wants to take this person and get out, even preferably if that means getting away from the other 2 with this person.
Yeah, certainly. I'll just get a strength athletics roll. So you need to like manhandle him because he is running and sort of coming at you with this sword, a lot of long knife thing, and he's ready to sort of hurt you. Yeah. So strength athletics.
Is the fire, if it's moving quickly and it's
There's a lot of
coming
paper
from Z towards A?
Yes.
Is it up to R yet? If not, I would like to move very quickly and see if Robespierre's files.
It's vampire wiki time.
It's vampire wiki time. I'm gonna use all 5 fucking dots of my celerity to go, Robespierre, Sanchez, Crouton, let's go!
You need to stop calling him Crouton.
Get the hard drives.
Literally. I think the minute that she grabs it, she goes, wait, and then look if it's too, like, she's gonna risk it.
Because you have celerity 5.
I will rouse if for a blink or anything like that.
You will need to rouse, and you'll need to make another Fury Frenzy check at difficulty 4, because this will be cutting it extraordinarily close.
Absolutely, yes. Come on, Dice Christ. Oh, I'm making out with Dice Christ. That is 5 successes, actually.
Okay, so that was for your willpower roll, I assume?
Yes, that was to avoid. And I succeeded on my rouse check too. I think she's just like, I get to see things about his belief in his files.
Yeah, certainly. A very thin sort of folder is all that exists on Robespierre, all that you see in the flurry of sort of speed and terror and certain death that is like roaring towards you. But you manage to grab it and sort of congregate at the door going upwards. Mael, how many
She returns.
successes on the strength athletics?
5 successes, so I hope I can drag my boy out with me.
Yeah, with 5 successes. He's quite small, he's not very heavy. This young man, sort of flailing, you manage to sort of grab both of his arms to stop his sword arm from sort of waving around dangerously. And yeah, you start to drag him up the stairs. Remy and Lucretia, you see her doing this. What would you like to do? Would you like to follow?
Yeah, I'm coming
Blink
with.
back to the top of the stairs, and she's like, "All right, time to leave, I think."
Yeah, certainly. Mael, interestingly, as you drag him out of the basement, as he reaches the top, he he stops sort of trying to struggle against you. And as he reaches out, it gets out of the basement, he sort of slumps in your arms. He's not unconscious, but he sort of seems dazed and out of it.
Mael will. She's sort of graceful. I mean, not as graceful, of course, as Lucretia, but she can keep her balance. But I think you have some people who would try to be gracious about like when she's dragging this. She's not. It's really more primal.
Yeah.
She's roughly, even though he slumps, I don't think she notices for a second, but it doesn't change the grip she has on him. So she will drag him up the stairs, and I'm doubting if I take him outside or not.
Near the door, maybe?
We don't have long before this fire spreads.
Yeah, I think she'll take him outside. But if I'm allowed to, once they reach the door and once they actually go outside, and she notices that the other two will also following and also outside, I think she'll kind of mutter under her breath to the other two and say, "Stay out of my sight for a moment. Now."
I am going to quickly find possibly the nearest person in the distance. And I'm going to move quite quickly without breaking the masquerade or anything, like move so that I am close and then come out and be like, "You need to get the fire department."
Okay, certainly. I will mention to you all also that as soon as you come out of the museum, sort of down the steps, waiting there, one arm crossed over her body, cigarette smoking in her hand, is Mademoiselle Josette Morel. Sort of looking up at you, face blank, passive, just watching as Mael, you drag this man out to the street. Lucretia, you can certainly go and alert somebody if you wish.
We all come out, the person gets dragged out, Lucretia just
She's like,
vanishes.
Yeah. And I don't think Mael will have any attention for Miss Morel at this moment. I think she'll like passively just stride past with this person still.
Mael goes past, Lucretia leaves. It's just Remy.
So it's up to Remy.
Yeah.
Remy, on the other hand, is perfectly fine with this situation and just kind of like, all right, Mael wants a minute. I'm looking. You're just the person I wanted to talk to. Remy will just kind of walk very casually up to where Mademoiselle Morel is leaning, and just kind of put his hands in his pockets, look up. The night's growing rather warmer.
Indeed, the heat of revolution changes day by day. So it would seem.
That's the nature of revolution.
That's right. Indeed. Who would have thought that new beginnings would happen so frequently? I assume you know why I'm here.
I suspect that I do.
Yes. I must admit I wasn't expecting my regent to want to speak with you so soon, but he was quite insistent.
How very interesting.
I think so too.
What do you suppose changed his mind?
Perhaps the situation has changed. I am but the messenger, as always.
Always. I think you do yourself disservice.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, leave the surety to me, I suppose.
Indeed. Les Invalides. Perhaps you are either going out with a bang or making yourself known with one.
Well, I suppose one can only tell from the point of view of history.
And who would know, at this point, where things will be in a night, a week, a month?
Indeed. Where are we to meet your regent?
We will wait until your two friends have joined us, and then I'll take you there myself.
Very well. One bit of business to attend to first, I imagine. Won't be a moment.
Of course.
And then I'll saunter on over in the vicinity of where Mael is doing whatever Mael is doing, and we'll stay peripheral. Won't directly approach, but we'll just watch and wait for the opportune moment.
What is Mael doing?
Mael is dragging this person away from the other two, and yeah, I think although it's not opportune, I think she will oh yeah, and she still looks perfect. She still has her mask. That's great. I think she will try to drag this person up one of the roofs.
Yeah.
In a very instinctual move. And if Remy wants to follow, then we'll see about that.
Really, really not my style.
No.
Just looking up from the street.
So I think there's kind of
leave that to me.
It's not that out in the open. I think she's doing that like towards the back, so it's not like up on the street, right? She's not that stupid. But she does want to get away from the other two, and the thing she always does is go up on the roofs. So with one hand, like the throat and the clothes, the neck of this person's clothes, she'll take him on her back and kind of try to climb the building with that.
Yeah, certainly. If you like, we can use your 5 successes from the previous strength athletics roll to say that you do this with ease. As I said, he's very petite, very light, and sort of just lets himself be maneuvered by you since he's so sort of floppy and drowsy.
Right. She'll drag him on top of the roof. When she's at the top, she'll kind of almost glare down if she sees Remy come near. She'll just like give a death stare down for a moment, thinking that's obvious, and then climb on like the rest of the roof. Once she's there, she'll prop him up, lay him down, sit him straight if she can at some point. Take a bit of a breather, just like an unnecessary breath in and breath out. And then she'll look down at the person. How does he look?
Out of it. He's looking around. He has no idea where he is. He sort of blinks, and as though he's sort of finding it extremely hard to stay awake, almost, as well. Very, very strange. He was sort of so rabid and ready to kill somebody just a moment ago, but now, as soon as you took him from that basement, his whole countenance has changed.
She'll crouch down before him and take his face in her hand and say, "You awake? Can you hear me?"
Yeah, I can hear you.
You were right there. You seem quite out of it.
I don't remember much. How did
You
I
were in
get
the
here?
basement of a museum.
Was I?
Do you remember that?
No, the last I remember I was at home. I was just putting the children to bed. I didn't think I was going to go to the museum today. We went last week. It seems silly to go again twice in a row.
You were in a museum in the basement. You started a fire.
I don't remember doing that. I don't remember doing that.
You don't remember doing that.
Why would I
Me
start
and
a fire?
multiple other people saw you start a fire down in the basement archives.
I'd get arrested if I did something like I don't. I've been. I don't want to get arrested. What? I
No, I
promise
don't
it wasn't
think you
me.
don't. That's a hefty promise since I and multiple others actually saw you do it.
God. I don't know what
Did
to
you
say.
meet with anyone before you put your children to bed or just after you put them to bed? Think harder because you know what the consequences of what you just did are, and maybe they will lessen.
I had a friend come. I'm gonna make a check for him. Yeah. That's it. I had a friend come over. We were gonna go drinking together. We sometimes like to do that in the middle of the week, you know, sort of break up the working week and all. And he was with some guy I'd never seen before. Said he met him down at the club. You know, the Jacobins. He's really into that stuff. Good for him, I guess. But yeah,
Describe the guy.
dark hair, young looking, maybe 24, 25 years old. I'm not sure. Some young guy. Looked like, you know, some bourgeois prick. I don't know. Never seen him before in my life.
Any strong facial features?
Very ordinary, actually. Sort of just blah. I can't remember anything in particular. Just average looking.
Any accent to their voice?
Just Parisian, like anyone else. Sorry, I couldn't.
You're in quite the predicament.
Seems like it. I don't know. Maybe my drink was spiked or something. Not that that'll save me.
Did you visit the museum more often?
No, like I said, I just took the wife and kids last week. Haven't been in years since then. Look,
You don't need to explain anymore. I don't think you can explain anymore, to be frank here.
no, I can't. I don't know what's going on.
I'll let you slip. I don't want to send another person to prison. You don't seem like the man who deserves that.
I didn't think I was. I'm not. Thank you. Thank you.
One last question. Are you a supreme being?
He looks at you for a long time before he says, I'm.
We're on a rooftop alone. Whatever you say here, no one will ever hear it. Consider that a good or a bad thing.
He says, I'm just a science student. I'm just a guy.
Take care of your wife and kids. And with that, she will. She still has a mask on. She will literally go off the roof, and the guy will have to find his own way off the roof.
Yeah. Maybe he has an in-depth knowledge of aerodynamics or something, but
perhaps.
But yes, you all meet up together with Mademoiselle Gisette Morel once again. Cigarette burnt out. She snubs it under her foot on the ground in front of the museum. She simply says, well, if you'd follow me. I believe the regent is waiting. My benefactor wishes to speak with you all.
Oh, great. You couldn't have better timing.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. He seemed rather adamant.
10 minutes before the museum burned off, he could have had better timing. And it was sarcastic.
I see. Yes.
I'm hardly in my Sunday best.
You look ravishing.
You wouldn't happen to know anything about the instigation of that fire, would you?
Me?
Yes, you.
No.
You're rather knowledgeable, you know.
I am on some counts, perhaps, but spontaneous fires in famous military museums could be a question for the man himself.
I'm sure it will be. And I suppose the fact that you came across us at this museum is a happy accident.
No, definitely not. I was told you would be here.
Interesting.
You are of great interest to him, if you would follow me.
Of course.
And
as we walk, Lucretia will be like, where did that individual go? The last one.
On a rooftop.
Alive?
Yes, unlike the other two.
Fantastic.
Oh, fantastic is it? If you thought it so fantastic, perhaps you could have let the other two live as well.
Yes, fantasy, things that could have been.
Well, another lure on the line. However, it is our two faces that will be fate in this case, I suppose.
Of course. When is it not?
Indeed.
Indeed. She leads you on foot across the south sort of side of Paris, sort of back around, not too far from where the Cordeliers Club is, where you met to begin with. And she takes you to a sort of narrow back street, not unlike any other. This place is a lot more heavily frequented with people, especially working class people, a lot of bars and drinking dens and stuff around here. She actually takes you down into one, down some stairs, down into a basement that reeks of alcohol and people and all of that sort of thing. A very low brow sort of place. Bursting with life, with people. A lot of people wearing the French tricolor here. Expounding upon Robespierre and the Revolution. Very loudly, very openly. And all of you, when you enter into this bar, will see this sort of nondescript looking man sitting at one of the tables alone, almost waiting for you to arrive. You would all recognize this figure as the Sabbat Archbishop, Brachial. He sort of watches all of the people talking, moving about and such. And before we get into this scene, we will take a quick break for 10 minutes and we'll be back soon to welcome our lovely guest for the next part of the session. Thank you everybody so much for watching thus far, and we will be back soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. As you can see, we welcome our lovely special guest, Ethan, to the rest of this session. And I think, without further ado, we will just hop right back into the action to see what happens here. Now, Gisette Morel leads you, as I said, inside this little drinking den. And the scene that I described is out before you. A very loud place, full of Jacobins, full of patriots that are expounding loudly upon their loyalty towards Robespierre and towards the revolution. Gisette leads the three of you over to Archbishop Barakiel, and then goes off away from the conversation, leaving you four in the center of this room, the center of this place, with all of this noise, all of this chaos happening around you. For Archbishop Barakiel, what does he do? How does he react when this group of Cainites approaches, enters, sits down before him?
I don't know if we sit down already.
Oh, well. You can if you desire to. But yes.
Barakiel is not looking at them at all. They are too busy feeding little giblets of flesh to their peregrine falcon, that hand that is on their arm, and just not moving their mouth at all, not blinking, not breathing, very pale, almost like there's an invisible conversation happening between him and the falcon. And he waits.
What does he look like?
Barakiel is probably one of the most plain looking people you've ever seen. The words John Smith come to mind. So forgettable in all of their appearance. And they are simply wearing a white shirt, simple pants, nothing that common people wouldn't wear, nothing that makes them look aristocratic or anything of the like. They look like they could be just like any other person in this bar here, just another person.
Has he always looked like this? Like, is he recognizable as Barakiel? Did he look like this at the Festival of the Divine Being, essentially?
It's likely he would have worn perhaps a blue coat over the top, but this is usually what he wears.
Fantastic. I'm gonna let Remy lead the way.
Yeah, I think definitely Mael won't speak at the moment, but she'll be very uncomfortable. Also still wearing her mask, so kind of looking like a plain Jane blonde woman. But yeah, she'll nervously look at the other two and then to Brachiel.
Remy will approach the table and then just kind of incline his head slightly and say, Citoyen?
Remy. And I would like to quell Remy's beast as soon as he sits down.
Great. Arouse check. And
we succeed.
Lovely. You do not get hungrier in this moment. I will get you to roll for me. If I can find the page. Roll charisma plus animalism. And Remy, I'll get you to roll your stamina plus your resolve.
Stamina resolve.
Yes.
Okay.
3-1 frenzies.
That's 2 successes for Remy.
8 with a critical.
Remy, you feel the beast sort of grow smaller within you in this moment, as though it senses something, a greater threat to itself. In this moment, a beast greater than its own, and it cowers before it. In this moment. For the rest of this scene, you are unable to rouse your blood, which means that you can't use any disciplines which require you to make a rouse check. You can't heal, you can't rouse the blood to add any extra dice to your attributes or anything like that.
All right.
Maybe a huge raw pain. It's
No,
just
please
blood
do.
surges.
Just blood surges?
So they can't rouse the blood to increase dice pool.
Perfect. That is it then. Thank you. You know it a lot better than me.
All right. I was curious.
And your curiosity has led you here. Are the others seating with us, or are we discussing this alone?
This is really the best place to be sitting for this.
Mael doesn't look like Mael, do they?
They look like anyone.
I will sense the unseen, I believe.
Certainly. I believe it is wits or specs for this particular role. Yep, and Mael, you'll roll wits plus your obfuscate.
Orange.
Yes.
You might get that. Sorry for any background noise or successes.
No, that's okay.
9 with a critical.
Fucking God.
And
Yeah.
see straight through the disguise.
Mm.
No movement in the face at all whatsoever. Mael. And I will quell Mael's beast as well.
Another rouse check.
Passed.
Charisma animalism versus stamina resolve. Again.
Should at least be a slightly tougher beast to quell.
You would think, but he's been rolling very well.
Yeah.
That is... Oh boy, this is exciting. Oh my god, I have 6.
Ooh.
8 with a critical. Have a seat. Lucretia.
Orakiel. Bonjour.
I will quell Lucretia's beast.
Is it
as
possible
well.
if I do daunt that he has to resist? Is there
We can do that if you'd like.
Yeah, you have to make a composure resolve roll at difficulty.
Yeah, I think I'd do just
at difficulty
a little bit
2.
of daunt just to make him work for it. I also don't want any regular people in here really seeing me. It's going to be super easy. It's just a resolve and composure of 2.
Yep.
4 successes.
And now I make a composure
You make a stamina resolve check.
resolve.
It's the lowest he has rolled
Yeah.
so far.
A measly
Do you
4
have a
successes.
We are going to increase hunger by 1 on that
Excellent. Thank you, Liz.
At least one of them you failed.
You're getting a little bit too turned on when you have to quell it.
9.
Yeah, no.
With a critical.
A critical. What's a
Come
criticaling?
on, man.
Wow.
I'm rolling a few dice
Yeah.
Yes, I fail. So I can't rouse.
for the rest of the scene.
No. You can still use disciplines and such though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just for blood surges.
Yeah.
Bonjour. And she'll
Sit.
sit down.
I will give you all. No. I will give you, Remy, a chance to explain your actions these past nights. But first, I'll push his empty tankard towards Mael. Manipulating one person to deliver a message is not wondrous for the words you used. And I will brook no insult to my abilities. You will pay with your blood.
I will pay because I said that.
Yes. My gifts are from Dark Father. They are divine. I will brook no insult.
We are all divine here. Are we not?
Is that so, Lucretia? From where I sit, you spat in the face of divinity.
When was that?
When you left.
Oh, but we are
Seems
all divine beings. Festival of the Divine Being was an exquisite display of that. No?
this is what we will discuss. Mael, if you would.
I think I'll need a little bit more persuading for that because, as far as I see it right now, I'm not sitting here to get scolded by Sabat. If I wanted that, I would have not left all those years ago. We are here to help you. So I do think that in all of the things that we have done so far, we're already helping enough.
Is that right, Mael? With all the things you've done so far. Remy, remind us all.
We're doing
What?
something, aren't we?
Let's hear it, Remy. What have you done so far?
Well,
From the start, when I sent my thrall to you. What have you done?
I have relieved a member of my pack from wrongful imprisonment, and in the process...
That was recent. Remember back to when you were told what to do. What did you do right after that? Shall I remind you?
Please.
You went back to the theatre, Le Bon Diable. I imagine to discuss, talk things over, to make up your minds after your spats and choice words with my thrall. Then what happened? And please, Lucretia Mael, chime in.
Trying to remember what the instructions were from your throne. Would you like to speak them? She
My
looks
instructions
around.
were to gather the three sects together, as each of you have pull in each of them.
And to do what?
To destroy Robespierre and the Church of Reason.
Does anybody look over that when he says that?
If you don't think I would speak these words in a safe place, Lucretia, you are far out of your depth.
Oh, I just wanted to see whether you could put them to words, whether you remembered them. I am glad.
I
Bishop,
seem to be the only one at this table that can put actions to words.
Well, if I may beg to differ on that point.
Please.
You, anonymously, invited us through a show of influence to confront the most powerful Cainite in Paris.
Second most powerful Cainite in France, Remy.
Well, as you say, that is a matter of action. So, what we have done is secure a meeting at which we know Robespierre will be present, which,
You
might I
know
say,
that.
has become increasingly difficult these nights. A place where the Camarilla will be present, a place where now a number of our Sabbat brethren will be present, and all that remains is to ensure that several motivated anarchs decide to be present. And then it is only a matter of who decides to light the fuse and when.
I see. You've. How do I put this?
And they are the three sects together, as asked.
No. Who have you got on side?
The most powerful Cainite in France.
Not yet, you don't.
Then with all
Let
due
me
respect,
remind you.
why are we here?
Yes, very confused if you're not on side.
You must understand. With your discussion with my thrall, your combativeness, and your actions as of late, I need to understand whose side you really are on. Because if I remember, Couton was in your theatre, Remy. And I
Yes.
believe I've had just a very interesting discussion with Saint Just about inviting them to Elysium, and a lot of discussion that is pro Robespierre. And were we not at the Concierge, the Notre Dame, at the Church of Reason, most recently, instead of in Camarilla territory or Anarch territory, discussing, making plans, making deals?
Oh yeah, because we can definitely arrange all of this without actually going to the place that is involved that we need to stop.
So
It's
who do
so
you
out of
have?
reason that we go there.
What we have right now is Maximilian Robespierre and his pack in a place. To attempt an assassination, we must have a venue. We have a venue. We also must have an assurance of leverage. Now, even if we don't give your name to interested parties, which I'm certain you will encourage us not to do, we have intimations that should do the job. Now, if you were an enterprising anarch and you wanted to behead the supreme being, and you knew where he would be and when, and that you would have support, or at the very least, not be stopped by several interested parties, I should have to say you would at least be tempted.
Who would be tempted? Who knows which anarchs know this? Or are we going to put posters all over France? Maël, perhaps you would like to be seen ripping down more pro-Robespierre posters.
Yes, because being seen, for one, I mean, you may have seen it, as you see probably all, but I made sure that no others were there present. One poster being ripped off is a scandalous thing indeed.
It's enough to get your head chopped off.
It's still on the neck, is it not? I'm not afraid of getting my head chopped off. If I was afraid of that, I would not have listened to your endeavor from the start. If we are not in this, then, well, all of our actions so far would have been ridiculous as well. If I was pro Robespierre, then why would I rip off a poster? Why would I? You're talking lofty things, but we are doing a lot here to make sure that if you put in the right effort right now, your and our wishes will come true. But by putting us under you at this moment, you are not helping the goals. By claiming that we are pro Robespierre, you are not helping the goals.
I believe only one of us here is blood bonded to him.
Yes, perhaps we could stand to learn a little bit more about that. It seems to be.
I think you are very mistaken with your information, Lucretia.
Most likely.
I am in no Voldery.
Ah,
I am
We
my
are-
own being.
Then
no pack?
perhaps you could speak to Robespierre's own tendencies toward that end. I have my suspicions from that same conversation you refer to with Saint Just.
Robespierre is not here. right now. Robespierre is busy working on things. I believe they will return in 3 nights' time, which passes by your invitation. If you thought they would actually show to a Camarilla location with their amount of paranoia.
If they're afraid, then I suppose we are no worse for the wear, and will have an occasion to speak with Camarilla operatives about their participation. If someone does show without Robespierre, then they are all the weaker, and therefore the easier target.
Mm-hmm.
So let me understand. If what I'm hearing is correct, the only characters on side with this is, or in the know, is you three.
Correct, obviously.
Was I not clear enough in my instruction?
Absolutely not.
We did not even know who you were.
We had to fight your thrall to find out her
I
name.
was under the impression that you were Robespierre himself, manipulating us into outing our intentions against him.
Could have been a human for all we know.
Well, here I am.
You have information that you did not share with us to help us in our planning.
Why should I help you?
Because you wanted to succeed.
You honestly brought us onto this mission. Raquel, please, this is no comedy club. It is very important that you be serious with us and you share information so that our planning is more effective.
No, Lucretia, why should I help you? At this point, I have every reason to talk to Robespierre.
Oh, yes.
And
you seem to have close contact with him and you are the strongest Knight in France. Deal with him. Please.
I'm going to use
Oh, boy.
Fire in the Blood on Lucretia.
Oi, oi, oi.
Remind me how it works.
So it feels like you're on fire. This is resolve plus occult, resolve plus occult or resolve fortitude for Lucretia.
Yoi, yoi, yoi.
And it's unhalved superficial damage.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like a blood sorcery?
Yes.
It is blood sorcery.
Yeah, it's a one.
Resolve occult, since I don't think you have fortitude.
I got 2 successes, mate.
10.
I die.
No.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Feel like you
If
die.
It's 8 and I got 2, and it's unhalved superficial, right?
What are the effects?
Normal superficial damage. The victim is racked with pain, forcing them to incur a -2 penalty on all physical pools for the remainder of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I am impaired.
Yes.
So that is a -5 in total, I believe, on all physical pools.
Mm-hmm.
Hope I don't gotta leave or nothing.
And I would like to share the senses with Lucretia while they do this, so I can feel the flame as well.
Yeah.
Oy, oy, oy. Right, I'll resist that now.
Arouse check.
Mm-hmm. I'm fine.
And resolve
Both the
aspects.
sorcery.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon
Lots
me,
of
what am I
successful rouse checking.
Yeah, we had that too earlier.
Yeah.
What's my resist, sorry?
You don't have a resist roll. He just has to beat a set difficulty.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've got 7 with a critical.
Yeah, easily. The feeling of burning, Lucretia, it sort of starts in the deepest pit of your core. Your belief feels as though it's been hollowed out and seared in flame, disintegrated from within. And it seems to spread throughout your entire body. It is unbearable. I don't know if you would have been on fire as a kindred before, but It feels exactly like that, but you can't find relief because wherever you move, wherever you seem to go to escape it, it follows you. It is within you and doesn't quite escape. And Barakiel, you feel the same thing as well, inadvertently through the own experiences of Lucretia. This feeling expressed as though it is your own. It comes from you, expressed onto somebody else, and then given back to you again.
I will prove to my Dark Father how much I can handle this. Just sit there feeling it.
Oh, right. Let's stop the charades for a moment. We're still going for the plan. The Camarilla will be there. A lot of important Sabbat will be there. I'm sure that my two associates here are able to jog them in the right direction, persuade them by natural gifts or blood gifts, I'm sure. I have full trust in their capabilities in that thing. As far as the Anarchs go, we have not had time to go and enlighten them yet. Although I do assure you that, well, you could have chosen a lot of Anarchs. You chose me. You know I have connections with the ex-Baron. Them getting involved in all of this is the least of your worries, because frankly, we are the ones who have the least to lose in all of this. We want to fight. We just know it's not the opportune moment until now. If we see an opportune moment, we will surely be there to fight, because we will not stand down for one. So I think the Anarchs are the least of your worries, although you do mention them quite a lot.
You said
If
that
that
Robespierre would.
happens at the next Elysium or not, that is something we can still discuss, because frankly, Robespierre will not be there. So it's only the question if it's more suspicious or not for them to also be there in the gathering with the three sects together. Perhaps it's less suspicious to have all three of them gathered there and get word of that to Robespierre. Who knows? But that is not decided yet.
You said that it would be 3 days.
3
Not.
days.
Give us a location. This is something we can offer. A specific.
I will give you your opportunity. For now, what I require of you is to get names, gather people behind you. Because Robespierre, the Church of Reason, will not make themselves known without being in the advantage. Much like I will not make myself known without the advantage. And Mael, you are both right and wrong. You're wrong in the way that you have everything to lose here.
And if one has everything to lose and the right mindset, that might seem that they have nothing to lose either. I know when to play and not to play. I know not to show my face to Jean Saint-Just at that moment. I know I have everything to lose, but when it comes to fighting Robespierre at the opportune moment, with the right support, we again have nothing to lose.
This is why I chose you. Your words rouse the heart and the spirit of France. Speak with the Anarchs, Mayor. They will rally behind you. Lucretia, you already have hooks in the Camarilla. You are already mere moments away from making your boons, whatever it is they do, deals. And Remy, I cannot openly support you, but you can do something for me so that I can.
What might that be?
Tulare Palace. There is whispers of shadows gathering. I've already asked you to take care of gathering shadows once before. It'll be just like then. Dispose of it, and I will openly support you in this.
Very well.
If I can find and seal these things of each of you, I believe word would have already traveled to Robespierre. So thinking you can play nice with Saint Just or any of the others, I think at this point is foolish. There are names being written down one after the other. I've seen it. And yours will be added to it soon. Mael, the blood, if you would.
I think I said so before, and I'm sure you can force me to, if that's what you want. But I think if you don't want to force me to, you'll have to do a little bit more persuading because, again, I'm not going to give you my blood for speaking my mind.
Believe you were the one that were meant to be giving us things from memory.
You don't need
This
to
is a
help me in this,
two-way.
Lucretia.
And this is another thing. If you are to be united against Robespierre, you too, Lucretia and Mael, are going to have to work together.
We can work together.
We
That doesn't mean that
are.
our minds are alike.
It does not matter where your minds are. Put France at the forefront of it, of your heart, not just the mind.
It is. Obviously.
Is it?
Yes, we are working together. We are here together. Are we not?
Then by tomorrow, I expect the Camarilla on side.
You already said I have the Camarilla on side.
I said you were steps away from it. Make your deals.
That is no different from having them on side.
This is binary. They are with or they are against. Make sure they are with.
Where have I heard that before?
No matter what you have to do. I have not forgotten your requests of me. Once
and you actually follow through on them, though.
I can follow through on far more than that.
Exceptional.
But I need something from you first. Names, alliances, an army to get rid of this church, this heresy within France.
Might I have an inquiry of you, Brachiel?
So be it.
Why have you not done it yourself?
I've been planning this for many years. Many years, Lucretia. If I were to explain it to you all now, what I'm really planning, we might be here till the sun comes up.
But why not yourself?
Because it doesn't inspire betrayal. It doesn't inspire, hence why Robespierre is where he is now. Not kill two of his closest allies. And more yet, no. You go on the right side of history. and you work with it to get rid of the soft hands, these aristocrats and such. Isn't that right,
Aristocrats
Mael?
are already dead, I thought.
Not as much as I would require.
All of this again sounds so familiar.
How old are you, Lucretia?
Ask a woman her age, Mr.
You are not a woman. You are a K-Knight.
I am indeed. Quite beautiful, though.
How old are you? 3 years?
Don't you know?
I do.
Indeed.
Then act like it.
Oh, but I am.
Mael, the blood. I will not ask again. Well, I will ask again.
Then ask again and force me, because otherwise there will be no blood in that cup. I will not put it there myself. You'll have to take it then.
I stand by her decision as we work together through heart.
This is not about me. Not respecting others by any way. But I think my opinion is not one I should apologize for. And if you think so, then surely take it. Will it be as satisfactory for you then? If it is, go ahead. But I don't think it has the same meaning. Of course, I could be wrong.
Satisfaction and meaning have nothing to do with this exchange. Give
Then ask
me a
again.
pint of your blood, and I will mesmerize Mael.
Yeah. Intelligence and dominate. Intelligence and dominate.
You cut out.
You cut out
Yeah.
each
Intelligence
what?
dominate versus intelligence. Let me just check. Intelligence resolve.
Mhm.
She's frisky.
11 successes with a critical.
She's
on,
frisky.
dude.
And this is gonna be perfect. Just for the record, I think I'm at 3 hunger right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, she's frisky.
My mic,
have
but also
a-
my L.
And quelled and
I only
frisky.
have 3 successes, so by all means, the
Mhm.
mesmerize works.
Yeah, certainly.
Put rationalize on that as well, so she thinks it's her idea.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mael. You come to a strange conclusion that indeed making a deal like this will make your quest easier and thereby make your own individual personal quest for freedom easier. It feels like a step forward for you as you take a clawed hand similar to the one that appeared in Remy's dream and slit down your own arm, let the blood flow, draw itself into the tankard. I'll get you to make a rouse check for me.
Mm-hmm. This is gonna be fun. It's a failure.
Oh
boy.
We
Oh
had
no, don't say, oh boy, this is great.
bar fight anyone?
Yep.
You feel the beast within you rearing up, almost as if in excitement at what the future holds, the prospects of moving into a new future wherein you can be free, wherein all of these tyrannical chains that keep you down will be gone, and you will have been the one to eradicate them from the world. As the wound closes up, pass the tankard over to the Archbishop, as though all of this has been your own idea.
Just a quick thing to the storyteller.
Hmm.
Is there a thing like I could say that I take a point of willpower damage?
Yes.
Or does my willpower do anything with this? Because I think in a way it could.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Against like
Because
a
of
conviction.
convictions,
I might
etc.
say that you take a humanity stain in this case, since it goes against your convictions rather than your willpower. It's in direct conflict with the values that keep you human, and therefore you'll take a stain, just one, to your humanity. As although it feels good at the time, this is something that will burn sort of significantly on your mind for some time after, in a way that you can't quite grasp why.
Remy,
Yes.
think of it just like times before. We are still doing this for our Dark Father and for France itself. This is the right thing to do. This path of humanity is everything we stand against.
It is intriguing to me the degree to which you invoke France.
I have her best interests at heart. As we have begun the quelling of the children of Seth, all for her. Our book says 10 for every one of us. And I will adhere to that.
Indeed. So it does.
Maya will choose that moment to slide back her chair with a present noise to catch attention from the others at the table. She'll slide back the chair, look at Brachial. Right. So I think the conversation here is about finished. We continue the job that we were doing. But one thing, I'm going to continue fighting. Truly, because it's what I believe in. But if I need to get freedom from you, I do not want it. I will seek it myself. So please, you do not have to pay me for anything. I do not want freedom from you. But you can count on it that I will keep fighting.
I will succeed. It doesn't matter, I will try. They were your words several nights ago. This is why I chose you.
Surely. Such an honor. We have many things to do, don't we?
Many indeed. I have a party to plan.
Time for actions.
That is what I like to hear. You will be given your opportunity. Gather the names, gather the sects. And don't misunderstand me here. I'm not just offering the things you requested, but I am offering you status, heroism within your own sects, how you will be viewed, taking down such a tyrant and freeing France in this way. I offer more than just that.
That's quite meaningless to me, but it is a pleasant offer. I have my other things that I would like from you, though. But we can discuss that when we are successful.
Quite. Do not forget, Remy. Tuileries, the gathering shadow. Once you deal with that, I will know, and I will back you openly. You will have the full might of the Sabbat at your beck and call.
Well then, I shall be sure to offend some shadows.
And I think Mael will take that as a perfect moment to actually stand up at the table.
Yeah, certainly.
If we've just spoken we've spoken quite openly about killing Robespierre and no one's responded at all.
No.
So saying it even louder isn't really going to change that, is it?
You can assume as much.
Okay, cool. Damn, I can't make a scene.
You can if you want to.
Yeah. I think, no, you don't live this long in the revolution and then throw that kind of stuff around. So if Mael stands up, she will also just stand up as well. I think she will wait for Remy to stand up before she moves though. However,
Remy will lean forward as though about to like push his chair back. But then we'll look at Brachiel and say, "You dream of France. I dream of the first times." He's going to push his chair back and stand up, bow his head, turn to walk away.
Yeah, I think with that, Miles' claws are still out, by the way. So she'll say, "In utter pleasure, I'm sure," and then also turn to walk away.
I know our pack was so effective back then that you had no other option than to call all three of us. Divine selection and all that. To Robespierre, and she'll.
As our Dark Father wishes.
Yes, yes.
As you exit, the night slowly draws on, closer and closer to its close. As the three of you stand on the street, are there any parting words between you this night?
I don't think a lot of parting words will come from Mael because she's gonna go hunting still. So
It's clear that she's kind of hungry if her claws are out, right?
Oh yeah.
In a way, yeah. I think she'll be like, "Would you like some company for your aunt?"
most certainly not, thank you.
Let's see. Good hunting. And then she'll turn to Remy and be like, "And what are your plans for the night, monsieur?"
Well, now that we have been sufficiently tended to,
Not so much a third party, is it?
well, some suspicions validated, I have to tend to my own house. But we have work to do. Shall be in contact soon.
Certainly. Adieu. And she'll walk off.
Au revoir.
And Remy will head back to La Bonne Diable for the evening.
Yes. Yes, he will.
Certainly. We will end this session then with Mael. How does she go about feeding? We have seen brief episodes of feeding with both Remy and Lucretia. Mael, how is it that she goes about obtaining what she needs in the night?
I think that it's come to a certain level where she knows the moment she turns her back and stalks away, probably immediately climbing up one of the buildings to go on top of a roof. she knows that inside her there is an intent and that she will probably kill. So with that, she'll kind of stride effortlessly along several rooftops to go to a bit of a more not in the center where it's so bustling, but more to the areas where the people live at this point, where lots of people are probably already asleep to go to work. You have an occasional maybe male worker who's still bustling around, getting home to desperately get some sleep. Once she's in more of an empty area where a bit of yelling, for example, doesn't grab that much attention. She's definitely done this multiple times before in different pieces around the city. She'll lower down onto the floor and approach this male. She doesn't really care all that much, but slowly approach him so that he sees her.
Yeah.
And he sees the claws, and he senses there's obviously something wrong, and that this person in front of him has malicious intent, knows that something is wrong, know that every fiber in his body is yelling at him to run at that moment to get away from this person. And I think she enjoys that, and she'll chase him down some streets, get closer at some points, go farther away at some points, disappear for a moment. She'll hunt, but like in the actual sense of hunting.
Yeah, absolutely. The sort of real raw definition of the thrill of the chase, as this guy sort of backs up a few steps, takes in the aura of that obvious predator sort of sense that you have about you. And the claws he notices, he runs, you chase him around blocks, through side streets, across main roads, sort of just you and him existing in this moment. I'm going to get you to make a stamina athletics roll as you chase him down and hunt him down.
That is 6 a critical. Not a messy, but that won't matter.
Yeah, wow. 6 successes. You're playing with him the entire time. In a sense, he runs as hard as he can, and as he keeps running, the scent of his fatigue, the sound of his panting, the clobber of his tired feet upon the cobbled pavement of Paris becomes increasingly apparent and clear to you. And eventually, when you tire of the chase, when he becomes too pathetic to continue to pursue, his mortal stamina eradicating over time, you manage to corner him in some dank alley in the suburbs of Paris, away from the city center. What do you do now?
She doesn't care how she gets him. She'll probably, if he stumbles, she'll probably just, with a hand, push him down further into the ground, be it by his face, by his neck, with the other clawed hand, just take it into his arm, push it down as well, the claws just sinking in, she doesn't care, and will bite down on a shoulder, a forearm.
And as you bite, with how hungry you are, feel the beast rear and growl and roar within you. Now, do you want to make a hunger frenzy check, or do you want to ride the wave in this moment?
She has no intention to fight it. She's gonna ride the wave.
Yeah, for sure. It's grotesque as there's this mixture of these claws that are out and the biting in one place and then releasing and then going in somewhere else. A visceral attack, a mauling, more so than anything else, compared with the ritualistic feeding of Remy, or the elegant sort of intimate way that Lucretia feeds. This is something else altogether different. And it is beautiful, it is sublime in its own way. And as you drink and drink from all of these different places, taking everything from him, so much so that he's probably not recognizable anymore, you feel the beast finally go silent and still and content within you. It is the unmistakable feeling of being completely sated. And as you revel in this matrimony of human and beast, in this moment, the closest you ever feel with this thing that has been placed inside you by the circumstances of your being, we pan out from the session for this week, and we will continue amidst a new night next session. Thank you everybody so much for coming. Thank you everybody for playing such a wonderful time, a wonderful session. I really appreciate it. And yeah, super duper excited for next week's session. It'll be a biggie. It'll be super interesting, and yeah, I can't wait to share it all with you. Again, thank you so much. Before we clock off today, I will get our lovely group to introduce each other, starting with Adam.
Hi, my name's Adam. I've been playing Remy Sinjin, our very quelled Sabat Malkavian. And you can follow the Shakespeare-inspired D&D campaign I run over at Bardic Inspiration at the name below. Thanks.
I'm Jack. I've been playing Madame de Comtesse Le Visage, the Camarilla Toreador, who is very in control of what she's doing and what she's saying to people. And I can be found at Dr. Radiance on Things, which is just my personal account.
Hi, I am Sirius. I've been playing Mayel Gadieu, the gangrel who is a moral beast in this group.
Hey, I'm Ethan. I've been playing Barachiel, the Archbishop of France. You can find me at Ethan Dragons everywhere, and stay tuned for next week. You're not going to want to miss that session. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, again, thank you everybody so much for coming. It's been a blast, and we will see you next time. Have a great day/night, everyone, and take care.
Bye.